like everybody else do. Are we live? Are we live? Yeah, we are. Hello, everyone that's not here. Everyone's. We're gonna give it a second. You know how everybody do. Give it a minute, see if anybody gonna come in. You know what I'm saying? We live. This is the Stocko family. And yeah. Hello. How you doing? Hey, how you doing? We're gonna get started in just a minute. Mind you, this our first time, so if y'all with us and it's y'all first time seeing us on live, because it's our first time being on live, we appreciate y'all. I see how people can. How do you see who's on it? When you come in, can you put your name in the chat so we can get a shout out, please? we would love to acknowledge. Or maybe it's just me. All right, everyone's. We are here and we back for the first time with a live. Today we just gonna talk. We want to get, if you want to get to know us, any questions that you have, you can place them in the chat. Other than that, we're just gonna be having conversations about pretty much who we are, our goal for this channel, our mission, and what we want to portray as far as the message. What you got?
No, we didn't do our intro. Who are we?
Oh, all right. So we're going to rewind. Everyone's. I am yours truly, Brandon D.
And I am Camille A. Stalker.
Yes, indeed. We going to keep it rolling now. So what you got, baby? Anything?
Oh.
How was your day today?
It was okay. Had an okay day. It was all right.
I don't know.
Nothing.
So for those who don't know, we are a single income family. I do the working like most men should do. And what do you do, baby?
I am a homemaker.
You make the home?
I'm a homemaker.
Make the house. She makes the house. But you don't want to elaborate on?
Well, I mean, I'm all of it with a stay-at-home mom, a housewife, a homemaker. I homeschool. I do all the things that do stay at home. I don't. Is there a specific?
Other than that,
like what?
Oh well, I'll describe what I do. So I've been in the construction industry since about 2009. Plumbing, pipe fitting is my stilo. Like I say, I do all the working. And the reason why I push trade so much is because I think these youngsters, they really don't know the benefit in all of this. They don't know that you can take care of your family, you can take care of yourself, you would take care of everything around you through trade, plumbing, electrician, pipe fitting, all of those things, truck driving, anything that you work with your hands with. And one of the messages that we always put out there is we should have listened to Booker T. And the reason why I say that is there's always been a debate between Booker T and W.E. Du Bois and their ideology and how they felt we could progress as Black people. And they had similar ideas, but a lot of it was conflicting as well. And Booker T believed that we should learn how to work with our hands, as well as having the brain knowledge and the understanding. We should have physical skills in this world in order for us to gain our financial independence, not have to worry about every other race and what they're doing and the government, all of these things. And contrary to that, W.E. Du Bois believed that we should go out and protest and pretty much beg for the things that we want in life instead of going out and doing what we know we're supposed to do, which is work. And that goes into another thing that we believe in the Bible. It says, if you don't work, you don't eat. And a lot of people do not want to work, and they want someone or something to help them get along in life. And I don't think that's how it should be. I think we should be out here working hard, doing what we're supposed to be doing, taking care of our families. And we're going to get into family as well, because that's another thing that we believe in. We pretty much are for everything that is productive to humanity. Family, working, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's who we are pretty much. In being these people, we have come across a lot of backlash.
Yes, there's a lot of backlash for where we started from. We started YouTube 5 years ago.
56, 556.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
And the goal or the point of Is My Point Valid? I don't know. We started just talking about things and I started questioning things. Then I came across a homeschool mom who was like, question the narrative, because things, once I began homeschooling, I saw a lot of Black homeschoolers who were focusing solely on learning Black history. And I was trying to do that. I was trying to just focus on Black history. But when I started focusing on that, there was missing pieces. So I began to just look at things from American history, period. And so I just had this idea that, hey, Brandon, let's do this is what I want the show to be, and I want it to be Is My Point Valid? And also it pays homage to my grandmother, because when she would talk, she would be like, am I making my point? Or my point is, right? And so I just loved it so much. I was like, is my point valid? And so we started this, and then the idea was for us to focus on giving what it is to be Black in America. And then, all the books I was reading, I would share them because I read a lot. And so I was just reading all these things. And then you start seeing what came about, and the pandemic happened, and then there was George Floyd, and then you see like, wait, we're behaving like this, and then like your ideas just begin to change. And then also what changed was reading the Bible, getting into the Bible and understanding how God wants us to behave, how he wants us to honor him, like all these things, and Jesus, and believe, because we believe in Jesus.
And I want to make a point. There is a big difference between believing in God and knowing the Bible. And a lot of people, they say they believe in God, but we don't know the Bible. So we tend to pick and choose the verses that we've heard over time, which best fits our narratives at whatever time it is. So, like she said, it's important that we read the Bible. Even with me, I struggle with that all the time. I'm a struggler when it comes to reading the Bible, because I don't know, I be psyching myself out. Like the understanding and all of that. I know I have to pray for the understanding and all. But anyway, it's important to get into that word, because a lot of the stuff that's happening has happened before. None of this stuff is brand new.
Right, and the Bible tells us
And
that.
I was having a conversation with, because I do side work, I was having a conversation with one of my customers, and we were talking about,
Bible, or how people behave.
Okay.
Oh, well, we read the Bible, like, so we started opening up the Bible and reading the Bible more. And then we started doing Bible study with the girls, because I was one of those people who was I had a devotional. And if you've watched us for a long time, I don't like a devotional, but
explain why.
I believe that if I explain why I stopped using a devotional, you're just getting a piece of it. The person tells you what they want you to think about. You think about it, and they give you the verse, and you might go to that verse, but you don't go deeper.
You don't get no context.
So I began to say, hey, the girls I bought the girls some Bibles in 2020, and I was like, hey, we're going to dive into it. We're going to start from Genesis, and we're going to just read our way through. I didn't care how long it took. I just knew that I wanted to dive into it. And I And I was like, yeah, we're done with devotionals because the Bible is the word is God breathed, right? So if I read it, then I gain understanding. I understand what devotionals do, but I need every morning we sit down and we read the Bible. Right now we're in Ezekiel. Today we read Ezekiel 20. So every day we read. Sometimes we miss. I'm not going to be like, hey, we're just perfect or all that. No, we're not. It's no perfection, but it is a routine, and we come at it every morning, and I call it Bible and breakfast. We read, and so we've been doing that for the past 5 years as well, and just reading it and asking God to open our eyes to gain understanding and gain His wisdom, and we do it. And I get so excited. My children get so excited about it, and we write notes in our Bibles. We write in our Bibles. We have conversations about it. Do y'all understand? Yes. If I overlook something, this is how I know that God is working through my children, because they are able to say, Mommy, what about this? Or, or whatever. So I enjoy that. And so that has been really, really good for why we are here today. So we started off with the backlash. So I think people say, or look at our content and are like, well, you shouldn't say that about this, or you shouldn't say this about that. And when we started in that territory, I did feel that way, because it's like, dang, man, maybe I am being a little hard. Maybe I shouldn't. Right. Mm-hmm. And I tell y'all this just to be, transparent. I'm not coming from a place of hate or trying to be ugly. I really pray about Lord, use my tongue correctly. Don't let my tongue be a sword. Don't let me cut anybody down. My goal is to uplift. And that is the point of, is my point valid? That we see a lot of, I don't want to say degeneracy, but that is what it is. We see a lot of that in the world. I'm not even gonna put it on, but we see it all around.
We don't just speak on seeing it on the internet.
Right.
We see this in real time, in real life. I've even dealt with it recently.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, I know a lot of Black people that say white people stay out of Black business. And it's a problem when white people do it. And it's also a problem when Black people do. So how are we going to hold ourselves accountable? How do Black people want to be held accountable? Do Black people want to be held accountable? Because it seems like every time it's like, here's the mirror, look at yourself, it's you bashing me. But really, I'm just showing you yourself. A lot of our videos, people think that we use the videos that we play as history, or we're using it as our means of education. But no, we're using these videos because those already align with the beliefs that we already have.
And we don't believe in everything that the video says. Now, it's some stuff we won't touch in the video just because I've never read that. I don't know about it. I'm not going to touch it. But I think the point of this is to have a conversation, right? Not for us to be at battle with one another, but to see that, oh man, if I see that behavior, I don't want to act like that. Right? Because recently I've seen some behavior that has made me rethink a lot of things. Oh my goodness, I don't ever want anybody to see me behave this way. I don't want those certain things to come out of my mouth, all because of this. And so when we see it, it's like, nah, I'm good. I'm okay with that.
It's almost like I'm to the point right now where I will completely avoid a situation because I don't got time. I'm on a mission, and anything that deters me from that mission, I ain't trying to interact with it, because foolishness is
it's rampant. It's a lot, because and everybody doesn't, and then you go back to God, and everybody doesn't believe in God, and everybody doesn't have those morals or those values that the Bible talks about. If you're not learning about those things, you're not going to apply those things in life if you're not being taught that. So if people don't know, they're going to continue to just the cycle, right? We talk about cycles and all this other stuff. But so if I can reach one person and be like, hey, don't do that, you know, read your Bible, open up your Bible, and then to go back to Bible to help out. How do we study the Bible? I use a Bible dictionary. I use a Bible atlas. We have a study Bible. So I'm using tools to do that. So I'm not just going to tell you, go, you know, what I have said, go read your Bible, but find you a good study Bible. I use the NASB study Bible with my children. They read the NIRV, but I'm using the NASB. I'm using the King James, and then I'm reading from the NIRV, but we're getting like the study going, right? Is that all that's what I'll be using? That I use all of that, but find you a good study Bible, even if it's a King James, you know, some people are King James only, but
that's even harder to understand.
Thou
cometh forth.
You know, some people like that only, but I like a NASB, and then the NIRV is for children, so they could get just a basic understanding. Because today that thing said they totally misuse. I was like, hold on, wait, Bible, wait a minute, they totally misuse. Like this was quoted in Ezekiel 20. That was so funny to me. The girls were like, I like that. It says totally. I said, oh my goodness. But so when you don't have that, then you see how the world is being torn apart. There is a lot of hate that is going around, and I will not just place it like on the Black community. It is everywhere.
With everyone. Yep. But for me, as a Black person, I can't identify with anything but what Black people are doing. And we've said this before, we have to start separating the degeneracy from the regular Black people. Because if you agree with that, then I don't know. We out here agreeing with too much. We for everything and for nothing at the same time. And that's why we don't agree with the Bible. That's why we don't agree with God, because we want to live with no boundaries, no expectations, no consequences, no accountability. And when you point that out like we do, man, we done been called everything but a child of God. And I don't let it affect me, because I know these are internet people. Half of them don't even have a picture on their doggone profile. And my thing is, if you so educated and you have so much to say, why aren't you doing what we're doing? Create your own channel. You can cultivate your own audience and all of that. Why would you come on ours? And I understand disagreeing, but we've had people tell us things like, I know you ain't going nowhere. I hope you don't do nothing. I hope you did. I'm like, I would never look at someone and be like, I hope you fail. I don't care how much I dislike you. If I don't like you, I'm not going to look at your stuff. I'm not going to comment on your stuff. I'm just going to keep it moving. Now, if I feel like you need some correction, then I'll do that. But
right, like you can correct me, right? Like if I'm saying something wrong or if I'm on the right track, it could be an encouragement. But man, golly.
I think one girl called us historically ignorant.
Like, wow.
I was like, dang.
Like
historically,
because we don't fall into the narrative of, you know, a lot of people were great who made America. right? It wasn't just Black people and that narrative that Black people built it. Man, it was a plethora of people who built it. And the plethora of people who are going to save it. So it's just not going to be Black people who save America. That's not, because we all live here. So it's very disheartening because like I said, our goal is not to be like trash people. But God, dog, if somebody say we hope we fail, well, that's not my messaging when I'm talking in the videos. I might say what I say, but at the end of it, hey, can we be accountable? How can we uplift one another? I have something. Do you really want me to, I want people to take it seriously because I don't think we are taking it seriously. I don't.
Another one of our beliefs and values is family. Like I said before, we're gonna play a video on the importance of family, like dad, mom, children. The structure, like it will deter certain people from even considering victimizing you. And this guy right here, he is a convicted child predator who explains to us in plain words what and how he chooses his victims. So we're gonna go ahead and get into that right now. And yeah.
How did you find your victims?
I found my victims moving from town to town. I scoped them out on school grounds. I scoped them out in Little League Diamonds. I scoped them out in my own backyards, my neighborhoods, and things like that. I worked with people who had younger brothers. I socialized with those people so I could get in touch with their younger brothers and begin the grooming process. And eventually, it would take time, but I knew what I was doing. It was all calculated. I mean, this is nothing that happened overnight. I knew, and I planned it all. It started out where I would move from one town to another. When I got located in one town, I would, survey the children in the town to see. It was always a small town. It was never a big one. Because big towns have big police forces, and big police forces tend not to be very friendly. Small towns have small police forces. They probably never even heard of a child molester or a sex offender, or never even had to deal with one. I knew that. At least I played upon that. And I got involved in Little League Baseball because I knew from my high school days that I could umpire Little League Baseball. I could umpire baseball. I was good at it. I was good at refereeing basketball and other sports because I could not play worth a crap in high school, but I enjoyed the sport so much that I did not want to not be a part of it. So I took up managing in high school, and then our coaches allowed me to referee intramural. And when I got to referee intramural, that gave me direct access to the younger boys. And that was how my molesting began, was in high school, when I had direct access to the younger boys through the intramurals programs.
So this isn't the whole video. There's one where he's talking about, man, I wish I found that video. But he's talking about how he goes after family, or he goes after children who only have a mother.
Yes, I thought that was the one.
I thought this was it. We'll have to play that later on, but he's specific in going after. Matter of fact, he was saying that if you do have a father, he sizes you up to see if you will put up any kind of resistance or not. And if that's the case, then he'll leave you alone. But single mothers are victims. Single mothers, children with single mothers are seen as victims in the eyes of child predators. Just plain and simple. He says it, and I don't think he's playing. But this is why it's important to have a father in the home. And that's another thing that we preach. It's like, bro, come on. These are your children. how can you not take care of your children and women? How are we actively bashing men that had children with? I don't understand what a disconnect is. All things should be doggone looked past in the best interest of a child. Protect the children.
But it's kind of hard when your feelings or you're feeling how you're feeling, right? Because I think some of the relationships that, result in children are people who are not married, people who you didn't know the person,
have no real connection.
Something that just happened, and you just like, oh my goodness, what have I gotten myself into? Because you were doing something that you had no business, doing. And so that's why a lot of this is happening. That's why. And then people look at us, and when we say, hey, get married, have babies. And when we say that, I know that some marriages, there are some men who are abusive, and there are some women who will be abusive, So I know that every marriage is not going to be like, oh my gosh, I know that. But
no marriage is going to be like that.
But what I'm saying is, it's just not going to, where abuse in there and all that. So we get that part, but the Bible does tell us that it is good for a man to have a wife and for them to have children. And so that is what God wanted the family to look like. And if you don't get married, then you should not be having sex, and you should not be having children, because there is the need of a father for that protection. Now, a mother can give her child protection, but the father or the husband protects the wife and the children, right?
He's an automatic deterrent based on how he carries himself. And like I said, this is what this guy was saying.
And he sat there and he said it
straight
face. No, I guess no remorse. He's just, hey, I worked at this school. I was a good umpire. I was good at this, and I knew I knew which victims to choose. Yeah. And that is scary, because we see, well, we're in a big city, but you see, and he says he went to small towns because it was better, because, it's easier. Like, what in the world?
I would think it would be easier in a city, because there's a lot more people and a lot less attention.
That's right.
Hey, I ain't no child molester though.
I don't know, but so that was, he just sat there like no remorse, and he's saying, this is what I did, and I
don't care.
I don't care.
Hey, this is what it is. I don't care.
But, so that's why it's important. That's why we talk about family a lot, because family is important. Having a husband is important. Having a father being in the children's life is very, very important.
At the end of the day, a woman is going to need a man, whether it's your brother, your daddy, your cousin, something. Y'all remember when that girl got hit across her head with that brick? And she was like, none of them men was helping me. If you had a man, you wouldn't have that problem. A man is protection. But under that,
I have a story about protection.
There's always correction.
This is before we were married, but I don't know if you remember this. I'm about to tell on myself. We were parked next to this dude, and his car was parked too close. And I opened the door and I hit his car. I don't know if you remember this, but I opened the car and I didn't hit this door on purpose, his car on purpose. It was the tight space, but he was in the car. And so the dude gets out, and then I laughed. I didn't laugh because it was funny. I laughed because, oh crap, I didn't hit this man's car. What's going to happen, right?
Now I gotta run interference.
So you got out because the dude got out and you got out. But what had happened was, my mom and daddy were watching from the window to see what was going to happen. So my mama had prepared my daddy to come out, because they didn't know, like, this is like when we first started seeing each other, whatever. But you got out, and that's when, like, my mama knew, like, okay, she's good. Like, he gone. like, oh my gosh.
I had to run the interference.
I was so like, because I was like, I did not mean to hit that man's car, but those parking spots were very close.
And people like to jump stupid
I
on
was
accidents.
like, I wasn't trying to. And I laughed. And then that's when he got out. I was like, I wasn't trying to. I'm so sorry. It wasn't even a new car or nothing. It was something old, but still, it was a white Mustang. But anyway, I remember because stuff like that. But I was like, oh my goodness, Brandon's gonna have to get out the car and whoop some butt because of an accident. So anyway, I was gonna be protected that day.
Straight up.
By my daddy and you. But he didn't have to come out.
Stay in the house.
He didn't come out because thought you had it. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
That was story time.
Did y'all see Bow Wow's daughter at these doggone awards? She had a little hip out.
Mm-hmm.
She like 10.
She's older than 10.
What, 13, 14?
I don't know. She's older than 10, but she did have a hip out. She did.
Yeah, she did. Back to the Bible. I got another video for y'all. There's a lot of people out here who claim to be believers. And on the same note, they out here talking about how the government doing this and immigration on this, and they just worried about everything. And what the Bible say about worrying?
Pray about everything.
And worry about nothing.
And let him be our strength. Lean on me. Not me, but him for understanding.
We're going to play a video. I found this video. I thought it was very artistic. He talks about worry, and let's see what they're talking about.
Worry is worship. Just point it in the wrong direction. You're either bowing down to your problems or you're bowing down to your...
Hold up, swole up. Here we go.
Worry is worship. Just point it in the wrong direction. You're either bowing down to your problems or you're bowing down to your provider, but you can't do both. Let's be real. We don't call it worship. We call it overthinking. We call it being prepared. We say, I just want to make sure everything is okay. But what we're really saying is, God, I don't trust you with this. Worry is not harmless. It's not cute. It's not some personality trait like being type A or detail-oriented. Worry is a spiritual leak. It drains your faith. It whispers doubt while pretending to be wisdom. And Jesus, he didn't tiptoe around it. He commanded us not to worry. Matthew 6:25 says, that is why I tell you not to worry about everyday life, whether you have enough food and drink or enough clothes to wear. Isn't life more than food and your body more than clothing? Read that again. Jesus didn't suggest, he said, do not worry. That's not a self-help tip. That's a command from the King. Worry reveals who your real God is. Let's just call it out. If you're always anxious about money, your God is money. If your mind is obsessed with relationships, your God is people. If your whole day is ruled by what ifs, your God is control. Matthew 6:24 says, no one can serve two masters. You cannot serve God and be enslaved to money. That verse comes right before Jesus says not to worry. Why? Because worry is tied to who your master is. Who you serve is who you stress over. So if you're stressing daily, check your altar. Who's sitting on the throne? So many times I've worried about how a bill was going to get paid right after I prayed for God's provision. It made my prayer empty because of my lack of true faith. Worry is the opposite of faith. Faith is not ignoring the facts. Faith is trusting beyond the facts. Let's be real. God never promised your life would be easy, but he did promise he'd never leave you. When we worry, what we're really doing is rehearsing failure in our minds. We're playing out all the worst case scenarios, but we're leaving God completely out of the picture. Hebrews 11:6 says, and it is impossible to please God without faith. You can pray and still worry. You can tithe and still worry. But you cannot worry and still walk in faith. One cancels the other out. God doesn't bless worry. He blesses trust. Some people think if they stress enough, they're being responsible. Like God's going to say, Wow, look how much they're panicking. Let me show up. But that's not how God moves. He responds to trust, not terror. He answers faith, not fear. Matthew 6:32-33 says, "These things dominate the thoughts of unbelievers, but your heavenly Father already knows all your needs. Seek the kingdom of God above all else, and he will give you everything you need." Did you catch that? Unbelievers are the ones who worry. So if you're always anxious, Jesus is saying you're acting like somebody who doesn't even know God. Let's be honest. What has worry ever fixed in your life? Did it heal your body? Did it pay your bills? Did it make people like you more? Nope. Matthew 6:27 says, "Can all your worries add a single moment to your life?" Not only does worry not work, it makes everything worse. It steals your sleep. It fogs your focus. It paralyzes your progress. So why do we keep feeding it? The root of worry is a control addiction. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of us don't worry because we don't believe in God. We worry because we want to be God. We want to control every outcome. We want to predict the future. We want to orchestrate how everything plays out. That's not faith. That's pride. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take." Now, God is not asking you to figure it all out. He's asking you to follow. You're stressed because you're trying to steer a ship you were never built to drive. Yeshua said worry is useless, so trust is the only option. Let's go back to Matthew 6:28-30. "And why worry about your clothing? Look at the lilies of the field. Not even Solomon in all his glory was dressed as beautifully as they are. And if God cares so wonderfully for wild flowers, he will certainly care for you. Why do you have so little faith?" That last line stings, doesn't it? Why do you have so little faith? Jesus wasn't trying to shame them. He was trying to wake them up. If God handles the birds, the flowers, the sky, how could you possibly believe he forgets you? Worry is a distraction from your assignment. Satan doesn't have to destroy you. He just needs to distract you. If he can keep you stuck in your head, doubting, worrying, second-guessing God, then you'll never step into your calling. Philippians 4:6-7 says, "Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand." Prayer replaces panic. Praise replaces pressure. Obedience replaces overthinking. That's how you stay locked in. The cure for worry is a renewed mind. You won't stop worrying by just wishing you didn't. You won't stop worrying by just wishing you didn't. You stop by retraining your brain with truth. Romans 12:2 says, "Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think." When those anxious thoughts come in, you don't just sit there. You answer them with scripture. You speak life out loud. You say, "I will not fear because God is with me. I cast all my cares on him because he cares for me. My Father knows what I need before I even ask." You don't just battle feelings. You battle them with facts from the word. Now, let's land the plane here. Every time you panic instead of pray, every time you stress instead of surrender, every time you overthink instead of obey, you're worshiping the problem, not the provider. But you were built different. You weren't made to carry that weight. You were made to cast it. 1 Peter 5:7 says, "Give all your worries and cares to God, for he cares about you." So stop rehearsing the worst. Start reminding yourself of who is in control. He's faithful. He's never failed you, and he's not about to start now.
Boy, that really hit home for me. Because I be out here worrying. Boy, I told you I struggle. I told you I struggle. And one of my biggest struggle is worry. Like being the head of a household and everything, not all the weight on your shoulders, but most of it. It's hard. It's hard being a man. It's hard. Say, life is hard. What you got? You over here writing stuff down.
So there's this song we listen to because we have a playlist, and there's this guy I really like, but his name is Will Reagan, and with the group The United Pursuit. But his song is called "Take a Moment," and so Ava likes it too. Our oldest really likes it, but he says, "Take a moment to remember who God is and who I am, who you are. There you go, lifting my load again." So we take these loads and we give it to him. It says the weight, but we take those loads and we give it to the Lord and you surrender, right? And so I think we've been playing this song for like a year, and we play it almost every single day. But those words too, even Bible verses and everything, I take that and I'm constantly in prayer. I didn't understand when people say you're always in prayer. You should always be talking to God, because look here, I was a worrier. Do you understand? I was a worrier, I was a crier, I was always anxious. I was like just timid old Camille. And I started giving God my load, and I don't worry as much. I don't get anxious. I am just, hey, whatever it is, it is. I used to want to be in control. That's another thing. We will always be in control. I got to know what's happening. And I also took that load off, and of course I gave it to God, but some of the loads that I was carrying that I thought I had to carry, Brandon just said he's carrying a lot. I released a lot to him, and I feel a whole lot better, but I know I don't worry as much. And I know a lot of people worry, and I know a lot of people are like, well, that's hard. Man, what has helped me through that? Of course, I said reading the Bible, but also creating a playlist and listening to it every single day. Songs that are glorifying God, but also asking you to surrender all those feelings of hopelessness, helplessness, anxiety,
Like you said, we out here trying to steer a ship that we was never intended to steer.
Right. He said faith is trusting beyond the facts, right? This is that, but there's something greater coming.
Mm-hmm.
Like even all the facts of history that we can spit or I read or whatever I can tell you about, I know that doesn't matter. I know something greater is coming coming. I know we're going to have to bow down to something greater, and faith. And he also said about worry, like you're worrying. Worry can cause sickness. Worry can make you sick. Your head be hurting.
Your
stomach. Like you have stomach issues. I think it was like could do like irritable bowel movements or whatever, because you're stressing so daggone much about it. It can make you sick.
Let go and let God.
Yeah, I mean,
like
people say it, but really, when things are tough, when you don't understand, when those thoughts are like coming and you're like, oh my goodness, why is this hitting me? Man, pray, don't worry about it. Give it to God. Give it to him.
What else you got?
I said I was a worrier, but I really y'all look into that song. I don't know if y'all will like it, but it's called Take a Moment by Will Reagan. And I like it. I like it a lot. You know what song I'm talking about?
Negative.
If I played it, you would know it, I think. Pretty sure you've heard everything we listened to. But anyhow.
Anywho, move right along. As far as this journey in YouTube, it's been a good one.
Yeah.
But like I say, I never expected to get so much hate from Black people. Like I knew Black people were vicious, but it baffles me how we holler about this unity. It's all unity, but that only applies to people who believe the same thing that you believe. As soon as you have conflicting beliefs, they try to oust you. I had one dude told me it was his duty to remove me from the community. I was like, bro, what are you talking about? First off, I lost my black card a long time ago. Don't care for
What
it.
does it even
And
mean?
who knows? But they didn't took it.
Okay.
It ain't there no more.
Ever.
And this whole not like us. One dude told, I seen a video where a guy told him he was not like us. He was like, man, I sure appreciate it. That's the best thing you could have ever told me. Because I don't even know what that means. Y'all sound like children. You're not like us. No one is like anybody else.
That's true. God made you an individual.
Individualis.
I was talking about individual. I was thinking this. I had said this to the girls the other day. I was like, think about this. Think about how many people God created. And like, we're all different. Like, we're all different. Like, there's billions of people in the world, billions. And we all, like, of course, we look similar or something like that. But twins, if you think about twins, they different. And like, to be created and then somebody looks at you and be like, man, I want to see you fail, and you not this or you not that. Like, God, dog, like, do you know that you are a creation of God? Like, he loves you. like what's up?
You need a hug.
Really?
Straight up.
You need me to encourage you? It's okay. Like, it's all right. We don't have to do that.
No, we don't. Y'all out here tripping. We can still be cool. Two things can be true at the same time.
Yes.
We can be cool and disagree.
Yep.
And that's a problem within the Black community. We do not know how to be okay with people who don't think the same thing we think. If they think something opposite, it's like, bro, come on, man. What are we doing here? What are we doing in life? How are we going to get to a better place if we can't even get along with each other? And when you point that out, once again, when you're pointing these things out, like, I don't think Black people want to recognize the problem. Like, you have some Black people that's giving solutions, but they're not giving the problem. They don't want to recognize the problem. So I don't know how we're going to get to a solution without the problem being recognized. But anyway, got anything else, baby?
Have another video? Oh,
The homeschool.
Okay.
You want to play the homeschool?
are you done?
Contrary to popular belief, and when it comes to homeschooling, there is a lot of people who think if your children are homeschooled, that they'll have social issues. Then they'll have anxiety problems and all of this stuff here. But it seems like the opposite is true. I know a lot of people who had anxiety problems going to public school. I know people who were socially awkward going to public school. I know people who went to public school like myself and really don't use any of the stuff that we learned throughout the process.
I remember. That's one thing. I was a very good student. I remember. But I was socially awkward, and I was like, I didn't talk a lot, and yeah, very anxious. Yeah.
We're going to watch a video. They give some of the facts on the difference between public school homeschooling and some of the benefits of homeschooling, contrary to what people tend to believe and tend to spread. We'll see.
You don't have the cash to send your child to private school.
Wrong one. There you go right there.
Where most kids seem to do very well in terms of academic performance and benefit from the sometimes lucrative relationships made there. Then again, the local public school in your neighborhood doesn't feel up to snuff. The class sizes are too big, and it doesn't have a great reputation. So who's to say your child won't benefit from your own knowledge that you secretly consider to be superior to the average teachers? But you worry, not.
And one misconception is you have to be a professional in order to teach your children. No. You can teach them the things that you know, and in the process of teaching them things that you know, y'all can learn things together, and the whole process of learning can be a family adventure through homeschooling. But we got to go to work. People always say.
Giving your child the opportunity to socialize with other kids might take away an important part of growing up. Is homeschool worth it? That's what we'll find out in this episode of the infographic show, Traditional School versus Homeschool. First of all, let's take a look at some statistics. According to the National Home Education Research Institute, and indeed any source you look at on the subject, homeschooling, at least in the USA, is becoming more and more popular. In the USA alone, there were 2.3 million home-educated students in 2015, which was up from 2 million in 2010. NHERI tells us the increase over the last several years has been anywhere from 2 to 8% per year. This increase isn't just happening in the US, but also in the UK, Australia, Canada, France, Japan, South Korea, Thailand, Russia, and Kenya. Indeed, we checked out a Kenyan newspaper article on the benefits of homeschooling. It was very positive about taking this educational route. One professor in Kenya was quoted as saying, "Homeschooling focuses on learning and mastering concepts, not scoring good grades." One mother who was homeschooling her kid said that the system limits ability and potential because it is geared towards passing exams. Many homeschool advocates will insist that traditional schooling doesn't always roundly educate, but rather teaches students only to pass exams. Many homeschool advocates will insist that traditional schooling doesn't always roundly educate, but rather teaches students only to do well on tests. Are we teaching kids to become cogs in machines? To be good workers, but lacking in curiosity and critical acumen? This is a far cry from how famed American philosopher John Dewey saw the best kind of education, which he believed was not just remembering things, but reflecting on them. He once said, "Give the pupils something to do, not something to learn, and the doing is of such a nature as to demand thinking. Learning naturally results."
And that goes back to Booker T. How you were saying the hands-on, learning a skill with your hands every day.
John Dewey wasn't talking about learning a skill.
I'm talking about
I understand, but John Dewey was not.
John Dewey on some other stuff.
John Dewey was talking about like he was not talking about that. So, yeah.
In the UK, it is well known that there is a teacher hiring crisis. Teachers are leaving in droves, and according to The Guardian in 2017, around half of teachers are thinking about leaving. This is mostly due to an intense workload based on constant tracking of students, never-ending tests, and all the extra work that is not really about what happens in the classroom, but centered around passing exams. Teachers themselves are said to be suffering from fatigue and mental illness, while it is widely reported in 2018 that UK students were suffering from anxiety and depression due to recent exams. So with all that workload and anxiety, are traditionally schooled students any more educated than homeschooled students? We looked at SAT results for kids in 2014. Take a look at the following numbers. Homeschooled students scored better in all three categories. NHERI tells us the home-educated typically score 15 to 30 percentile points above public school students on standardized academic achievement tests. It added, a 2015 study found black homeschool students to be scoring 23 to 42 percentile points above black public school students. Often, homeschooled students are in the 80th percentile, while public school kids are in the 50th percentile. Just about any resource you read will cite statistics telling you homeschooled kids do very well. You'll hear things like, Stanford University accepted 26% of the 35 homeschoolers who applied, nearly double its overall acceptance rate. Such quotes, of course, aren't representative. With such a small testing group, there is a high standard deviation, which means it isn't reliable, but it is, however, interesting. Why are they doing so well? The main reason is, all the attention is on one child, or at most, a few children. But the parent can focus on that child's weaknesses. If the parent knows what he or she is doing, the kid will more easily get through difficulties they face. Education becomes made to order. There are no class clowns and exterior attractions getting in the way of study. The child can spend every day totally focused on the subjects at hand. Parents can also inculcate and ensure the importance of self-study, reading books, and being curious. It's not as if the child has many escape routes or can proffer those dog ate my homework excuses. Another thing other than creating your own course based on your child's needs is knowing how best your child learns. There are lots of pedagogical approaches, and we all respond differently to them. A teacher in a traditional high school has one approach for the entire class, which of course is not his or her fault, but that approach might not work for your kid. There are other benefits too. Taxpayers in the US pay around $12,000 per year for every pupil that goes through public school, though the cost differs dramatically per state. You save the people money by homeschooling. The average cost of homeschooling is said to be somewhere between $500 to $2,000 for books and materials. And if you were thinking about private school, the costs can be oppressive. Think of all the money you could save. So what else do the people say that promote homeschooling? They tell us the parent-child bond will grow stronger. On top of that, some schools are not full of little angels, as we all know. At home, it's unlikely your child will be skipping classes to smoke weed behind the basketball courts. It's unlikely they'll face bullying or get into fights within the confines of their own home. They won't experience racism or prejudice, they won't have to undergo the stresses of being popular, all those childish hierarchies that can be a minefield for young folks. They likely won't get a bullet in the back delivered from a quiet kid whose hobby was cutting the wings off trapped birds. They won't spend a year depressed because they got dumped by a girl in chemistry class, and they certainly won't be sneaking to the bathroom to see if their pregnancy test is positive. Well, they could still get pregnant, of course, but perhaps it's less likely if they are not surrounded by the opposite sex day after day in school. The question is keeping your child away from these apparent dangers in itself a possible danger to the development of said child? After all, the workplace, the rat race, the dating game, they can all be minefields too. Does a child need traditional school in order to learn how to navigate tricky social and workplace situations? It is the loss of social interaction where most people say homeschool finds its negative. Not to mention, your child might resent the hell out of you for taking him or her away from their friends, from pulling them from the football team, the after-school photography group, high school prom, and perhaps even a first kiss. Will the parent-child bond grow and flourish, or will being next to each other all day foment some feelings of animosity? Have you ever tried being with someone non-stop? Arguments often happen, only because of the lack of space. We might also ask if the parent is cut out to be a teacher. One not only requires knowledge, but also patience. If there is a lack of patience, unlike at school, where the teacher is gone when the bell rings, the child is stuck with the target of their ire. Then again, if you're a super cool parent and you're fit for the job, you might realize when things are getting tough and just say, school is over for the day, go out and enjoy yourself, not something that happens in a traditional school setting. Homeschooling offers flexibility. There is, of course, the negative of homeschooling costing money in other ways. You must have a fair bit of cash to do it, as it means one parent can no longer work outside the home. You'll need some relative comfort to take this on. If you have that, then you also have to be the kind of parent who fully understands subjects such as physics, chemistry, calculus, the Industrial Revolution, and at the same time be able to decipher some great works of literature or know how to write a compelling short story. Not all math gurus are creatives, and vice versa. Can you even teach your kid to swing a baseball bat? Do you even have time to visit a field and help your child work out? Do you understand the rules of football and tennis? Can you teach chess strategies? Or do you know how search engine optimization works? Your kids might not study some of these things, but during the socialization process in traditional school, much can be learned from other kids. Basically, you must be damn talented if you want to homeschool kids, especially when they get older. But the statistics don't lie, and homeschooled kids do tend to do better than traditionally schooled kids. One thing you don't have to be talented for anymore is making a website. Wix is a super easy yet professional and robust platform for creating, managing, and hosting your websites. With Wix, you'll never have to worry if your website is safe and secure, or if it will go down because you did something silly. Wix offers you true creative.
Oh, let's get up out of there. But
yeah, so we homeschool. We're a homeschool family.
Yes.
That's why that video was very interesting. Some of it I agree with, some of it I don't, because I take a very different approach, which I'll probably talk about that in another show, about how we do homeschool. It is very, like, you have some people who do go all in and purchase the most expensive curriculum. I pieced together, I bought one curriculum in my time of homeschooling, but I piece together stuff, I create stuff. We really focus on reading, writing, and math. You read, so read, and then you write.
and then you do math.
Well, math is always first. We knock math out. We start our lessons at 9:30. It takes about an hour for them to do math, or if it takes longer, but they do math first. Then they read, and then they write, and it's narration. So that's what they're writing, but that's really all we do. And then during the summer times, we focus on like science and all these other things that we don't get to do during our regular school year. But I think the most, I don't know, because he said $500 to $2,000. But I think I homeschool with less than that. What do you say? That I homeschool with less than that?
Now, how much?
He said it's about $500 to $2,000
A month?
Oh, just
overall.
homeschool.
Yeah. That sounds
But
about.
I don't think I'm saying I do it less
You
than.
do it on a budget.
I should.
We just told y'all we was a one income family, so everything we do is budgeted.
But here's the fun thing. I take like surveys and stuff, and so I buy the books that I really, really want. I buy them myself. I'm like, just to ease the edge.
Let me hold on. Peter. We definitely appreciate you so much. We appreciate thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
very
you
much.
so much. Peter says, not sure how I found your channel, but love your content. My wife and I have a great relationship. Don't get me wrong, but hold you guys up as a united team. I like us to be more like. Man,
I like how you worded that,
Thanks.
because some people look at couples and say, you know, power couples, or I want to be like. I like that you said
The
the
unity.
united team, which is a husband and wife should be. I like that.
family.
Yes.
That's what we all about. About family, faith, and education. Those things will help you get through life. They help you avoid a lot of foolishness, nonsense, and everything on the sidelines. And we need faith, family, and doggone education to keep you in the right lane. And that's what we're all about. So, thank you once again, Peter. If you haven't before or haven't already, make sure y'all check out our memberships. We have 3 levels. I just changed it to kinfolk too.
Did you put
I changed it. We got kinfolk,
That's
we
funny.
got official family, and fam bam. So y'all check those out. They come with perks, extra content. We put out about maybe 6 videos a week, but we only upload about 3. So all those extra videos, all the extra content will be for our members. We do it all for y'all. We appreciate y'all. Everything y'all do, every time y'all show up, we definitely appreciate it. Can't thank you enough. Got anything else, baby?
I don't.
We're gonna go ahead and get up out of here. And like always, it's love, peace, and soul.
Bye.
Like Soul
Thank
Train,
you.
baby. Thank you.